say more than 20 medical professionals have worked, for that organization that I helped to hire. No one had more compliments from the patients than Susie, and even when she took time off to be with their young children, they would come back and they would ask about her, and if you,
I don't mean to take any more.
That's fine. No, thank you. Okay.
I just want to say one thing that I forgot to mention earlier. As a naturopathic doctor, I did not prescribe marijuana. I'm not licensed to prescribe. So I worked alongside medical doctors, and it was the medical doctors who wrote the letters of recommendation.
Right.
So let me get it straight. So you are trying to tell us that
Yes.
there's a medical doctor who is certified, could be a Kaiser doctor hopefully, right?
Well, Kaiser will not do it, no.
Okay, so who does it?
Well, that's why.
Who are these doctors who are doing it?
They are doctors who have the intestinal fortitude to put their medical license on the line for their patients. Because it is a somewhat risky business to give a patient a letter authorizing them to obtain medical marijuana. There's malpractice issues that can come into it. There's ethical questions that can come into it, and the number have had problems. So it takes, I would say, generally true believers in patient care. The kind of doctors, if you go to a normal Kaiser doctor, as you say, they'll ask their attorney, and their attorney will say, we don't want to get involved, and they don't get involved.
That's
So
what I've heard.
there are a number of specialists, just like in many other areas, doctors specialize in medical cannabis. But we are actually starting to see mainstream doctors from Kaiser, from Sutter, from Stanford, recommending medical cannabis to their patients. But at this time, a patient will typically go to a specialist who has, who is studying in this area of medicine and who recommends medical cannabis.
Right, and they do refer to them as medical marijuana clinics.
Just to get something straight. Susie, are you gonna be the owner? Are you proposing to be the owner? Because it'd be nice to hear from you more about the issues rather than consultants, because you'd be the one dealing with everything.
She'd make all final decisions, yes, she's the 51% owner.
Sure.
But go ahead.
Yeah,
Speak for
I
yourself.
get that, So,
Do you wanna
could
ask
you
us
do more of the speaking?
Sure.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I just recently heard that Kaiser is prescribing marijuana and dispensing it out of the local area here. Is that,
That must be true, it may be true, I didn't know
I
about
didn't
it.
know about Kaiser. I
Well,
remember
I
Sutter.
I have heard from somebody who worked at Kaiser, the problems that have been caused by marijuana, and that's why they have a special group who does that research over there. And they have found how much addiction happens and how many lives have been ruined. And that's why they stopped.
Oh, I don't
If they
believe,
are taking a new
Yeah,
course now, I don't
yeah.
know.
Well,
I think we
recently-
need to research that, I think we're talking about two different things. They
right,
had a research about the addiction
right.
problem before 64 came out, but I think there's also, I had heard that the Kaiser doctors were prescribing it, and they have their own pharmacy here in Marin,
That's great.
and supposedly they are. But also, we also have delivery services here, and family, friends have gotten delivery services
Right,
that was delivered to their home, which is a common method with people that
right.
have cancer problems in this area, to be delivered.
It's just unfortunate that they're completely unregulated, unlicensed, and illegal.
Yeah.
So I recently met with a toxicologist from Kaiser and spent about an hour with him regarding medical cannabis because he had some concerns. And by the time our meeting was over, after we had looked at the research together and gone over a number of things, he went from kind of skeptical to a proponent. At the end of our meeting, he was on board saying, if we can reduce the opiate use, because that's really where the overdose is. So cannabis is non-toxic. So opiates are toxic. When you take too much, you can die. Represses the breathing and heart rate. And in the states where medical cannabis has become legal, the opiate overdoses have dropped 25%. And this Kaiser doctor that I talked to recently, toxicologist, said that, if they can find any ways to reduce the opiate use, they are starting to come on board with it.
Yeah, but then the prescription should be prescribed by a doctor, knowing that patient's condition. It's
Yeah,
not
that's
being done
illegal.
like that.
Yeah, it's, that has to do with the law. So that's just the way they wrote the law, that doctors recommend it, not that they prescribe it, that's just the way the law was written.
We all appreciate the information about marijuana, and I would guess that this group is fairly educated about the merits. But can you start telling us the reasons why it would benefit Blackpoint? Any information, other than making it easy for us to drive down the hill to Rossi's. What are the benefits? Just curious.
Well, when you, okay, you.
Oh,
you
I
go
was just
ahead.
gonna say that,
You go ahead.
I don't know how everybody feels, but I'm guessing that, that the tow bar maybe isn't with like broken down cars out in front. It might be better to have something, to have it cleaned up a little bit. So, I'm thinking that could potentially be a benefit, just to have a cleaner, professional, space there. More aesthetically pleasing, more aesthetically pleasing.
Are you planning to describe the building, the number of patients you expect a day, the
Yeah,
hours,
yes.
parking, all that?
Yes, I'm sorry, we got kind of sidetracked. So we propose to see 60 patients a day approximately, which would work out to be approximately 5 patients an hour. And we're only allowing 3 patients in the sales area at a time, because it's gonna be a 1-to-1 bud tender to patient ratio, 1-to-1. We're gonna have 3 bud tenders. So that's
You
part
said,
of the
I'm
plan.
sorry, bud tender?
Bud
Is that
tender
a
is the
play on
technical.
bartender?
It is.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
that's
the,
interesting.
yeah. So that's the plan for numbers. And then, what was the other?
Well, you have number of employees, number of parking places, and then just physical layout.
Yeah, and I know that it's not that easy to, especially from sitting down, you can't really see. But there's 4 designated parking spots. You can come up to the, in the back. These are for the proposed plan to have it, the entrance in the rear. So that's what these plans show. So there's 4, there's a, you have to have at least 4. So, but we can remove the garbage cans out front and allow for more parking there.
Excuse me, I hate to interrupt you, but could you back up for a second? Where is Harbor Drive, and what building specifically are you talking about?
Oh, okay, so I'm talking about in the back, okay, so Harbor Drive is
A
where.
little market, Rossi's, market.
Can you let her do it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, where's Harbor
Oh,
Drive?
sorry, actually Harbor Drive is here, I'm really not good with the drawings.
Okay, so
It's hard
that's,
for me.
so we're talking the street here
Yeah.
now, is
Just point
that,
to the gas pumps. Everybody knows the old gas pumps in front.
Yeah.
So you can point right to them, so you
Yeah.
can see it's literally.
okay, so you're
Yeah.
talking about taking over Rossi's Deli?
Next door.
Next door, right next door, just the garage, just the garage.
towing.
It's
Okay.
the towing, yeah, so
Okay,
just that small
700 square
okay.
space.
So that drawing there on, that you're looking at there,
Yeah.
that's all of Rossi's Deli in the parking lot in back?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
And so how many square feet is it? that
So
you're
it's
gonna do?
750 square feet, I think it's 755 to be exact.
Okay.
square feet.
thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, and then,
Go back to one of the items, you said you expect 60 patients a day.
yeah,
That will be 1,800 patients in a month, right? And
Yeah.
1,800 patients, how much do you make on one patient? How are you going to pay the employees, how are you going to pay for the building maintenance and all that? 1,800, and even if you make $50 on each, you're talking $90,000 at the most. Maybe not even 90,000, am I right?
You're right.
Okay, $90,000. Out of that you have costs. What's your profit margin? Is your profit margin
Gross
that
profit?
high?
I'm not good with this because
So
I
I
have to
worked on the
approve it.
Well, I'm
budgets
trying to
because-
understand that,
Sure.
is this even a profitable proposition for you with 60?
Well,
Because it's what's going to happen is instead of 60, it will be
600.
600.
The
That's
Son
how
of
you
Beverly
make
would
money.
only saw 40 patients a day, and it was profitable.
Yeah, so I worked on the budgets, that's
Uh-huh.
my section. An average sale is $60 and 60 patients a day.
How much is the profit? out of 60?
There is not profit, so we're a nonprofit. So all of the money made at the dispensary goes back into the collective and into the surrounding community. So at the end, it kind of evens out. There's not a profit. But the 60 patients a day at $60 absolutely covers all the operation costs. And we have budgets online if you wanted to see those, and we can show you
I'm
those.
trying to understand if you're making $10 or $20 out of 60.
No, 60 patients a day at $60 per patient.
Right, but what's the
The
profit?
gross.
That's just a gross.
Yes.
You have to pay for your employees, you have to pay for security
Absolutely.
guard.
So that's
You
the
have to pay for
gross.
lighting, you have to pay for
Okay,
building.
we have a budget and we can show it to you afterwards.
Okay.
But I have been doing this for 10 years and we are absolutely sustainable. We pay all of our bills, we pay a large amount of taxes and permit fees, and we pay our employees, we have health care, we donate to charities, and at the end, we don't have any profit left. But we are a nonprofit and that's what we signed up for, and we'd be happy to show you those budgets.
I'm sorry.
So I think the main concern of everybody in this room is the traffic. And 60 sounds dreamy, that it's gonna be, just a trickle in there, but we've heard reports of up to 1,200 a day at the busy dispensaries. How can you assure us that it's not gonna be, like Chandra said, 10 times that amount? Because that would definitely cause a burden on our community. We have a 2-lane road to get home, and that would be
Yeah.
a mess. So and
What
especially
breaks
if
do
you
you
guys,
have?
yeah, if you guys go, like, we can address the recreational usage after that, but you double your clientele then. And so then what's our, safety here?
So,
Go ahead.
so to start, the way that we wanna keep it small is, well, I just think the square footage alone is gonna help to keep it small, but also we're gonna limit the number of patients that are allowed in, to become members of the collective.
Yes.
And there's also a limit to how many people can be in the dispensary at any one given time. And then Susanna asked, well then, if you're only allowing so many people in, is there gonna be a line? And that was a really good question. And I had to talk to some other dispensary owners and figure out, is that, a possibility? But what I'm told is that, people move through so quickly that lines don't usually develop. And, also we're gonna have an indoor waiting area. So if there are some people there that, can't be in the sales area, they can be inside in the waiting room.
Out of
But-
your 750 square feet, you'll have room to have people.
We have
Yeah.
a small
Inside,
waiting,
so.
small waiting area, you
Yeah.
can see it on the.
I'm sorry, this isn't adding up. How many employees are gonna be on site typically?
Typically, there will be a security guard, a receptionist, a manager, and 1 to 3 cannabis counselors working in the sales area.
You don't even have parking for your employees,
Seven
more or less.
people.
We do.
Where
There's a lot of parking behind the building.
There's 4 parking spaces
There's just 4
designated.
designated, cause that's the
That
minimum,
wasn't the
but-
parking, that was for the employees. The 4 that we referred to, you have to have by Marin regulations, 1 parking space per 200 square feet. And being that this one is 750 square feet, you need 4 parking spaces for your customers. Now, if your employees are going to park there, then you need additional parking. But this site does offer additional parking, at least in 4 to 6 spaces directly. They would have to piggyback each other, but they can. The
Isn't
employee-
that the parking for the grocery store?
No, this is behind the mechanics shed. Well, it's not a shed, it's a building. But where they fix those cars, the tow yard?
That's a tow, it's not fixing cars, that's a tow.
Right,
It's just a parking
right,
place.
you're right, they don't fix them, but they just store them there, exactly. But behind.
Well, your employees could park back there, but right now,
Yes.
we have a parking lot is for the store. You're
Right.
actually taking away some of the parking for the store.
Right, but what
The
you.
dispensary.
You're absolutely right. What you gain, however, are 6 spaces. For the 4 that you give up, you gain 6, and you gain those in the front. With the entrance being in the rear, you'll gain 6 spaces in the front of that, what is now a garage door, will be a wall. And that
Well,
wall,
but that would only cover your employees.
no, the employees would be parking in the back of the
Oh,
building.
you mean where in the house in the back of the
There's no
building?
house.
There's a house behind the garage, yes.
Well, that belongs to another piece of real estate, that
Oh,
house.
up the hill.
Yeah, that's, you're right about the
Well, that's where
house.
the tow company's parking now.
Exactly.
Okay, they may be, but that's not the plan here. This would be, there is a concrete asphalt area directly behind the tow area.
Okay.
You know, I'm just saying, that, there's room there.
Is there a park and ride at Atherton?
There is.
Okay, 'cause if there is, we were thinking of, asking the employees to park there.
Yeah, there's.
That's
a
what
word.
That's almost a mile,
Only for
that's
commuters.
almost a
Well,
mile
it's- that's what
away.
it's designated for,
Okay,
for
okay.
people going to the city and stuff.
Okay.
If you put bathrooms in and your 750 square feet turns into 400 square feet,
There is a separate bathroom.
so it starts getting really tiny. Logic says, hey, it's working well, let's take over Rossi's, because it's the only natural expansion spot. So I think probably a lot of people are playing that game in their head that these numbers are probably very low because that's where you'd wanna show us. So obviously with expansion in in the future, that's an obvious situation. And this is the only store we have, the only place you can possibly have your 10-year-old kid go get a treat from the store. So, I mean, can you,
Yeah, I don't
what
know.
kind of insurance are you telling us you were gonna give us that this doesn't turn into a big operation?
Right, I understand.
Because once you have your permit, hey, you got it.
Right, I understand.
Forget everybody
I
else.
understand,
Kinda like Malibu.
Well, the Malibu, by the way, just so you understand,
yeah.
and you can check that Malibu is 505 square feet. That's all it is. And it was cut out of Colony House Liquor Store. And that's all the landlord there, the man that owns the liquor store, is the landlord. He owns the property. And so he was only able to give up that 505 square feet. And that place is seeing 60 people a day now out of 505 square feet. So you have more, and the place that I referred that I had experience with, this Robertson Caregivers in Beverlywood, that was 600 square feet. And this is the larger of the three facilities, 750 square feet. And by the way, there is already a bathroom, so they don't have to put a bathroom in. It won't take, that's aside from the
It
750.
doesn't have to be handicap accessible?
If it does, they'll make it handicap accessible. I don't know at the moment if it.
It's
if
on
they-
septic also.
Yeah, it is on septic, definitely. But we would very much like to, at least from what Susie told me, and I understand it, we want to leave that market as it is, maybe help it get a new paint job. I mean, but aside from that, we really like the country's look of it. And I
Well, we're
know-
glad that you like it.
And I think that there's no need to have more than the 750 square feet. And I think you can take this woman at her word, because this is one of the most ethical people I've ever known. And that she means what she said, and she's not trying to become a very rich woman off of this. That's not her goal.
Would you sign a statement to the effect that you would never expand beyond the 750 square feet?
I would.
And would you sign a statement that you never allow more than 60 patients a day to come to your facility?
I just don't know if I can completely control for exactly 60, like what if there was
That's
61?
my point exactly. You
Yeah.
aren't gonna be able to control it.
Well,
and
no, I'm
you're-
just saying I just don't know if I can control for exactly 60, as opposed to 61, 59.
Are these
I'm not
appointments?
trying-
Will you
I'm not
make an
trying to-
appointment?
Look, I'm
No.
not trying to be disingenuous here, I really am not. I'm also learning as I go, and,
What would be your max enrollment in your collective?
yeah, that's something I'd have to refer.
Yeah, so,
So, excuse me, I wasn't done.
oh, okay,
And a lot of people have had a lot of opportunity to talk, and now I'd like to talk for a little while.
okay.
So I live here, I drive by there every day. You don't live there. You have your dispensary in a very appropriate location. I know that neighborhood pretty well. I lived in Sacramento for over a decade. It has great public transportation in that area. It has great freeway access in that area. It has medical providers nearby. It's a very good location. This would be a good facility to have somewhere near Marin General, somewhere near the Civic Center, somewhere near other services, somewhere near public transportation. We have zero public transportation. We have a freeway that gets impacted every afternoon, very significantly. We have about 80 to 150 blue-collar workers who stop and drink beer at that deli every afternoon and park all over the place. We don't need to add a lot more to that. We have people who are freeway jumpers who get off Highway 37 to get right back on and block up the road, so we can't even get home. Have you ever been to Rossi's Deli in the rain? That's a question for you. Well, let me tell you what happens in the rain. There's a huge puddle out front, and if somebody drives inappropriately, they splash water all over everybody that's out there. There's also a huge puddle that forms in the parking lot that you're gonna use. And during intense rainstorms, it's very wet there for days afterwards. So, you know, the problem is you don't understand that facility at all, about what it really is in inclement weather. You've got what you refer to as a man trap, which is how you buzz people into the first area that you call a man trap, and then you buzz them into your sales room. The man trap, right there on your plans, is 5'2" by 16 foot. How many people can you stuff in 5'2" by 16 foot? 8. That's a very credible,
Yeah, it's an elevator.
that's a very fun place to stand.
No, they're not gonna be, well, the idea isn't that they are in there very long, and
But people
I
have to go in and
understand your
out
fears,
there
believe
too,
me, I
right?
understand your fears. I can tell you that my experience was not that. It doesn't back up like that, you don't have lines. People, most of them, are kind of in and out pretty fast. I don't think it's gonna be that bad, and I'll tell you one thing, the person that's gonna benefit financially from this is the people that own Rossi's.
Well, the people that aren't gonna benefit financially are the people that all live in this neighborhood.
Well, I don't agree with that
There's zero
necessarily.
benefit to them.
Well,
So
no,
what is
some
the
of them are gonna
benefit
wanna
to
get
us?
their medicine, I hope, some of them
Yeah,
will
we
want
have
to
a-
use the medicine,
We have a very strong opposition here.
I
Out
understand.
of 500, we have more than 50% who have returned, saying they do not want anything like that.
I understand that, and I don't think there's a place in the state of California that they do want it. I've never run into one place that didn't have the, I don't want it, not in my backyard. I've never heard of anybody that wanted one.
It should be close to the people who want it.
No.
Why should it be
This
close
is-
to people who don't want it?
Well, because every place is the people that don't want it. Every place is the people that don't want it. The homeowners association in the beginning in Beverlywood, the ones that wrote the letter saying keep them, wrote the letter saying don't let them in the beginning. Because they had the same vision you have of this horrible mess that it's going to bring, and crime, and the wrong kind of people, and too much traffic. And Robertson Boulevard, it was on, is as bad as 37 between 3 and 7 o'clock, because it leads to the Santa Monica Freeway. It's the only thoroughfare from Beverly Hills to the Santa Monica Freeway. So they did not want more traffic on Robertson Boulevard. There was no more traffic. First of all, we're going to tell the patients to not come between 3 and 7, because you're going to have to put up with traffic, and you're going to add to the traffic. There will be people that are on that road anyways, that, as you're saying, pull off to have a beer at Rossi's. I suppose they could pull off and come and get their medicine if they needed it, and get back on the road. And all I can say is that I don't think that it's going to add much in the way of traffic. Some of these other concerns, I understand. I have a feeling with the money that they make at that market, if this is allowed, he can fix all those potholes. There won't be any more of that problem when the people drive in the rain. He will make that a much nicer place. Just so I can share it with you, he's going to get a lot of money if this is successful.
With 60 people, your numbers definitely don't add up, I can
Can
guarantee
you
you
go
that.
back to Suzanne's
Unless you're paying
question?
people $10 an hour.
No, minimum wage is $15 an hour,
Yeah.
we're gonna pay a minimum.
Can you go back to the number of members, and is this member only, and like 61 a day is not 500 a day, so how are you, how many members are you gonna service here?
So I can answer that question. We will have limited membership, and that's how we can keep the number of patients down, is by only allowing so many patients to sign up with us. By having really strict rules and having the highest, level of requirements from the dispensaries, we at a therapeutic alternative have stayed very small.
So
We-
what's the number, what number are you gonna have for this location?
Well, I can get my calculator and do that for you. We have
I
figured
can tell you
60
that
patients a day.
if it helps you, I can tell you that at Beverlywood, Robertson Caregivers, they had 1,900 members. And of the 1,900 members, that turned into about 50 a day, 50
So
patients a
is
day.
this members only or people?
It is
that-
always members only, and it would be, in my, and I'm not an expert on this, but from what I've heard, the county of Marin does not plan to allow recreational marijuana. They're very definitely on the side of never allowing recreational marijuana.
Do they have that?
They do, yeah. Prop 64 allows each county and each city to decide if they want any dispensaries at all. You have the right to have none, or you can have a medical marijuana dispensary, and you can zone it, and you can decide for yourselves how many you're gonna allow, and the same thing with recreational. They can.
They were told by the state that if they didn't push the 4 on Marin through, that the state was gonna come in and do it for them. So I don't know if that follows the.
Yeah, I haven't heard
The
that.
state can't do that.
Sorry,
No.
it's appointment only, or is it first come, first serve?
It's not appointment only,
It's just who,
First
it is,
so
So how many?
if it's
how many-
Friday and everyone has a day off of work,
right?
like 1,000 people are gonna come on Friday and nobody's gonna come on Monday.
They couldn't service 1,000 people, it's not.
But I mean, how do they know that? They're gonna come, they're gonna pull in the parking lot, and there's gonna be 75 cars out there in a line out the front door, and you're gonna go, you should've come on Wednesday.
You know,
Yeah,
it's
we
just,
have to
get
marijuana's not
75.
that popular. It's a funny thing. It's just not that popular to where you're gonna have that many people coming, honest to
So
Well,
God.
I
we
have to
can
say,
open-
Well,
I
you
don't
know,
trust you.
I beg to differ with you because we have asked
Yeah.
other dispensaries, and
Right.
other dispensaries are talking 300 to 500 a day during the week and over 1,200 on the
Let's
weekends.
ask her, and I'll
So-
guarantee she's an honest woman. Ask her how many people a day she sees in Sacramento.
So just so you know, we are in a very conservative area of Sacramento, East Sacramento. It's the nicest, most upscale neighborhood. We're across the street from a school, around the corner from a park. A planning commissioner works next door to us. We are highly regulated, and we have made a positive impact on our community. So 8 years ago when we opened, we had the same discussion with our neighbors, and they felt a lot the same way you did. But we continue to meet with them every year, and after a few years, they asked us to stay, and all of our neighbors support us now. So I just want you to know that there is hope, and we do want to stay true to our intention. We have a small dispensary. We never had a line out the door. We've never had more than 100 patients in a day on the busiest day. And we limit that by limiting our advertising, by limiting the number of patients we allow to sign up with the dispensary, by having very strict guidelines, which we've proposed some guidelines here. We want your feedback. We want to make rules that you also agree with and you want our members to abide by. But there are a number of ways that we can limit our membership, and we've done that at a therapeutic alternative, and it's worked. We also don't want to make a negative impact on our community, so we have kept a very small dispensary over 8 years, and we've been successful at that.
Excuse me, how many dispensaries in Sacramento?
There's 30.
Okay,
30.
here's
There's
the
a
problem,
million